Wants to know how to become invincible or a secret way to deal tons of damage? Here are 29 Blox Fruits facts you probably didn't know. I bet most of you didn't know that Rip Indra isn't actually the founder of Blox Fruits. People just think he is because he appears in the game as a boss and NPC, but he's actually a co-creator. The guy who founded Blox Fruits is called MyGame43, the same guy that founded Elemental Battlegrounds. I mean, he's still a co-creator, but he's the one that founded the game. And did you know that the first guy to ever join Blox Fruits as a player and buy Darkblade is the founder of Grand Piece, which is a game similar to Blox Fruits since it's based on One Piece just like Blox Fruits is. This was confirmed by Rip Indra through a tweet. Did you know that each time you trade with someone in Blox Fruits, that trade is recorded in the game's official Discord? Because of this, we now know that the first trade ever was made in September 2021. Legends say that the first island to be made in Blox Fruits was originally huge. Developers had to resize it because the new players didn't know what to do or where to go. The map was literally so big that some players didn't even know that seas existed. I bet you didn't know Rip Indra once trolled the whole community by posting a picture in Gear 4 before it was even out. He did this on April 1st and the whole community launched the game expecting to see Gear 4, only to be absolutely devastated. A long time ago, maxing out your stats was much easier and quicker. Stats used to increase as you're using them and not by leveling up. I wish they would bring this back. Comment down below if you agree. The first player that reached the 3rd sea in the game was a player called Noob05062, and yet this guy calls himself a noob. Of course, that's if we exclude all the admins, which I think is fair. This one might be one of the funniest bugs in the game, but it was unfortunately patched. Back in the day, you were able to board NPCs and bosses onto the marine boat and drive around. This was great for me because I could just pretend like I had friends. Did you know that there are a few different ways to get a free Darkblade? Don't get me wrong, they're not easy, but free is free. The first way is to get a well-known Brazil cube. This one isn't easy since the only way to get it is by finding where the admin dropped it. And on top of that, they drop it on a random server every once in a while. Luckily, the second way is easier, but it takes a lot of time and the chances of getting Darkblade are even lower. Just go around and beg someone to give it to you. Rich friends, admins, or YouTubers. But if they say no, respect that and don't get on their nerves. The third way to get Darkblade is to trade for it, but you can only do this if you got plenty of legendary fruit since we all know how valuable Darkblade is. And the fourth way is the best but probably most difficult way. You have to kill Mihawk, a raid boss from one of the events. But actually it's just Rip Indra disguised as him. He's carrying a much stronger version of Darkblade, and if you manage to kill him, there are low chances he will drop his sword. Killing him is almost impossible, first because he's almost never online, and second because even when he is online, the chances of him becoming Mihawk are close to zero. So are your chances of getting Darkblade. I bet most of you didn't know that Full Body Phoenix is actually single-eyed. If you look closer, you'll see he has an eye on the left side of his head, but there's actually nothing on the right side. Did you know that Ice Admiral becomes impossible to kill if you get in his residence without destroying the door? Once you destroy the door that leads to the room where Ice Admiral resides, you'll be able to fight him. But if you glitch into that room using Flash Step, you won't be able to damage him. But trust me, he's definitely going to kill you. Since developers know that people glitch into the factory, they had to make a shield around the core in order to prevent people from destroying it out of the raid. So anytime you glitch into the factory while the raid isn't going on, you won't be able to damage its core, because the shield won't disappear. Most people already know that Paw is super underrated, but the most underrated thing about it is its projectile range. It's so good that you can reach the enemy standing at the other side of the island. A slight buff and it would be able to reach literally another island. I don't know if you've ever encountered a floating tree in Blox Fruits, but if you want to see how this modeling mistake looks, just head over to the cafe and search for the tree that's not fully in the ground. It looks like it's floating because someone that was in charge of this didn't place it as they should have. Most new players don't know about the Yoshi NPC that you can find on the Upper Sky Island. He sells you Tomio rings for 500k belly, which buffs your fruit damage by 10%. That doesn't sound like a lot, but believe me, 10% fruit damage is OP. Buddha is already overpowered, but imagine how even more OP it would become after you get these rings. I bet you didn't know about the Soul Cane sword pros use. I'll show you how to get it. If you go over to the Magma Island and glitch into the left part of the volcano, you'll find an NPC called Living Skeleton. He sells you a Soul Cane sword for 750k belly, and it's considered to be an S tier sword because it's so OP. That's why so many pros use it. I still don't understand why so few people know about Mirage Island. It's a special island that functions apart from all the other islands and is one of the 4 sea events. It can occur randomly anytime you're riding a boat. Once you get on it, everything becomes really dark and your goal is to find an advanced fruit dealer who has some pretty rare fruits in stock. Besides him, you can can also find blue gear for Race Awakening. Tons of new players don't know this one. There are 2 fruits in the game that give you PvP advantages. Chop fruits make you immune to any sword, and that's why it's one of the best fruits for new players that are fighting bosses. And the second way to become immune is to use rubber fruit, which makes you immune to any lightning attack. You should definitely write this down. Most of you don't know that there's no need to launch the game just to see if a fruit dealer has anything worth buying in a stock. If you're looking to purchase a good fruit, but you're too lazy to launch the game and see what's in the stock, just get into the game's Discord server. There's a channel called Stock Discussion where players let other players know what the stock looks like and if it's worth launching the game. Pretty neat. Everybody knows that the Dark Blade is overpowered. Well, it is, but the Saber V2 actually has the highest skill damage. When used at the perfect distance, Saber V2 will do over 6,500 damage. What, you all really thought the chess table was just a decoration? No, that chess table located in the cafe is fully functional. Next time someone messes with you, call them out to play chess. The winner gets the most valuable fruit from the other's inventory. Have you ever seen a player with a bounty of over 50 million? Yeah, probably not. But did you know that when a player this powerful joins a server, every player receives a message in the chat saying something like, "Beware, the god has arrived," and the name of that player? But seriously, what do you have to do to get a 50 mil bounty? Don't be a fool thinking Rip Indra is the strongest boss in the game. Everyone knows it's actually King. He's level 2300, uses Awakened Doe moves, and has exactly 1,111,500 HP. And Rip Indra only has 850,000. But at least he's the co-creator of the best game on Roblox. I bet most of you didn't know that you can become Rip Indra, but you will need to spare around $46,250 to get this satisfaction. That's right, the whole Rip Indra outfit costs 3.7 million Robux. So I assume Rip Indra will remain one and only, but we all have a friend who would buy this if they had the money. Here's a simple fact most of you definitely didn't know, probably because you've never had sand fruit. If you eat sand fruit and jump in the water, you will take twice as much damage. That makes some sense, but at least NPCs won't be able to hit you since sand is an elemental fruit. Most of you think that light is the fastest fruit in the game, but it's actually not. A portal fruit is obviously much faster. Portal's world warp ability lets you travel anywhere on the map, and I mean anywhere. Teleporting is the fastest way of traveling, and you can also bring your friend. But I think it's too expensive since traveling is the only thing you can use it for. That's not worth 1.9 million. Did you know that boats can fly? It's so simple to do this, but just a tiny number of players know about this. All you have to do is take a control fruit, create a dome with its first ability, and launch your boat into the sky. That's almost as fast as the portal. There you have it, 29 facts you probably didn't know about Roblox Blox fruits. Make sure to subscribe and watch this video on the screen. Or don't. I can't tell you what to do.